Good evening, one and all. We welcome you all to the international webinar series on holistic health, well-being, and sustainable development 2022-2023, commemorating Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav, nation celebrating 75 years of independence, United Nations Sustainable Development Goals 2015 to 2030, as part of awareness and campaigns in collaboration with Sri Holistic Health Foundation India and Sri Research Institute Center for Arts, Sciences and Wellbeing. Before we start our sessions, let's take the blessings of Almighty.
Kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah Shatru buddhi vinashaya Deepajyotir namostute Deepajyotir namostute Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah Shubham kurutvam kalyanam arogyam dhana sampadah.
With the blessings of Almighty, we shall continue with today's commemorations. Today, Today, we do not have any international commemorations, but at a national level, we have few commemorations. We are looking at Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day in US, which is observed annually on July 19th. The day is marked to appreciate flight attendants for the important work they do during the flights. And this day was proclaimed on July 13th, 1990 by President George Bush. Flight attendants strive to make air travel as comfortable and as enjoyable, as well as guard the safety of aircraft passengers. Their professionalism has saved many passengers from injury or death and continues to increase the margin of safety. Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day was created by proclamation of the President of the United States of America on July 13, 1990. Declared by President George Bush during his tenure. The proclamation enumerates the importance of flight attendants to passenger safety. Flight attendants strive to make air travel as comfortable and as enjoyable as possible. Their chief responsibility, however, is to guard the safety of aircraft passengers. Federal aviation regulations entrust flight attendants with an array of duties that are essential to protecting cabin occupants from in-flight hazards and ensuring their safety evacuation in the event of an emergency. The men and women who serve as flight attendants carry out their duties with an outstanding degree of dedication. Their behavior has been calm and professional during accidents, hijackings, in-flight fires, sudden cabin decompression, and other situations of potential or immediate danger to human life. This tradition of professionalism has saved many passengers from injury or death and continues to increase the margin of safety for those who travel by air. And proclamation also reads, in part, in recognition of the contributions America's flight attendants have made and continue to make to the safety and comfort of the traveling public, the Congress, by Senate Joint Resolution 278, has designated July 19, 1990 as Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day and has authorized and requested the President to proclaim an observance on that day. Now, therefore, I, George Bush, President of the United States of America, do hereby proclaim July 19, 1990 as Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day. I urge the people of United States to observe that day with appropriate ceremonies and activities designated to recognize the important role flight attendants play in enhancing the safety and convenience of national air transport system. So this is just a part of proclamation. So Heinrich Kubis becomes the world's first flight attendant on board the LZ-129 Schwaben airship in 1912. Western Airlines employs stewards to serve food during flights in 1928. United Airlines hires the first female flight attendant, 25-year-old Ellen Church, in 1930, and airline making an history to start employing women as flight attendants. And Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day proclaimed by President George Bush, as mentioned in 1990. And thus the holiday was created and started. So Ruth Carroll Taylor was the first African American flight attendant in the United States in 1957. So you might be wondering, is there any formal educational qualification to become a flight attendant? So an aspiring flight attendant must have at least high school diploma or GED. And there are also special schools for flight attendants that train people to become flight attendants. If you are interested, you can pursue. Every time flight attendants board a plane, they expose themselves to danger while still ensuring the safety and comfort of passengers. So next time you fly, take out time to say a big thank you to these brave individuals. Flight attendants must meet several requirements to qualify for the job. Learning about their duties and responsibilities foster more empathy for these dedicated individuals. So spread this day about Flight Attendant Safety Professionals Day. Often, these flight attendants or stewards, especially, it is glorified that they earn a lot and they get opportunity to visit many countries on duty on the flights, and they happen to get a lot of opportunities to stay in various star hotels across the world. All these are true. There is nothing to deny about it, but there is a lot of responsibility that comes along with these duties. Because the flight attendants are trained rigorously and have to behave in a very disciplined manner, because not only they have to take care of their safety and as well as the reputation of the airlines, and as well as to respect the rights and privileges of the flight passengers, and not only that, to ensure safety and security of the passengers, and also to deliver instructions in a timely manner whenever a situation arises, and also manage passengers. We know not all passengers are good passengers or dignified passengers or, passengers with common sense. Many times we see, even in buses or even in trains, there is a lot of, things happening, especially among the passengers and the staff or the authorities in train and bus. Similarly, there are many times, passenger fights happen, and there are a lot of complaints from passengers regarding food, regarding facilities, or regarding various other aspects and these things. So it happens, suddenly something happens in the flight. And, especially it is very difficult at times when the flight is fully booked or overbooked. You don't have any vacant seat. And at that time, it is again too much stress on the flight attendants because they have to serve each and every passenger. And there are some nagging passengers who always keep troubling the flight attendants. And apart from that, there are various other issues to be handled. So, of course, like in every job, not every day is a hard day, not every day is a soft day. So it depends on how you are tactically dealing with the passengers and the staff, and also managing yourselves in a normal situation and a stressful situation. So, though it has a lot of lucrative benefits with this job, at the same time, there is an equal amount of responsibility and also risks that are involved. So, let us look at the various airlines paying their flight attendants, which is approximately, it may be more only, not less, but this is an average. So the Alaskan Airlines pays an average annual salary of a flight attendant working at Alaskan Airlines is $53,000. On average, American Airlines flight attendant is paid $40,000 per annum. United Airlines reportedly pays its flight attendants an average of $44,000 per year. On average, on flight attendant at Southwest Airlines earns about $42,000 per year, and JetBlue pays its flight attendants about $42,500 a year on average. Apart from other benefits, there are various other benefits also. So flight attendants are brave, thinking of the risk involved in being on several flights every day. Being a flight attendant is a strenuous and potentially dangerous job. Flight attendants deserve all the accolades they get. Not only do they have to perform one of the toughest jobs, but they also have to do all with charm and grace. Through part of their job is to keep passengers comfortable and safe. There is no doubt they sometimes go above and beyond their duties. On average, a flight attendant may clock 65 to 85 flight hours every month. During these flights, their duties include ensuring passengers' safety rules and making sure that all emergency equipment is functioning properly. Today is also commemorated as International Retainer Day. And this day challenges you to commit to your beautiful smile by keeping your retainer on after dental treatment. So it recognizes the value of retainers, which help users to maintain a straight and beautiful smiles years after undergoing orthodontic treatments. In early 1900s, retainers were introduced to prevent teeth from slippery sideways. The smile remained straight. As a result of this, if you don't use retainer following orthodontic treatment, your teeth may shift or revert to their prior incorrect position. So if you have been slacking on your retainer, now it's the time to get back on track. Eons ago, the causes of dental problems weren't well understood. In 5000 BC, a Sumerian text describes tooth worms as causing dental decay, and this idea wasn't proven false until 1700s. Humans have been dealing with tooth pain and rearranging teeth for over 2000 years. On mummified remains dating back to Egyptian Empire, archaeologists have found devices designed to teach malocclusion, abnormal alignment of teeth and jaw, crude metal implements have been discovered wrapped around the teeth. Ferry Fauchard came to be known as the father of modern dentistry thanks to his invention of modern braces. His device used string and flap strips of metal to draw the teeth together. Despite its crudeness, the equipment was more akin to the retainers used in modern orthodontics. Individual connectors on each tooth were employed in Fauchard braces, allowing for more precise adjustment. Since then, orthodontics have evolved to provide more pleasant treatments, such as the inclusion of wiring and rubber bands in the mid-19th century. Dr. Charles Hawley invented the adjustable retainer that allows for the corrections by the orthodontist. It remains one of the most well-known methods for protecting the alignment of teeth. The Essex retainer, invented by John Sheridan in 1993, is becoming increasingly popular. This model of retainer allows for maintenance of teeth alignment while being significantly less obtrusive compared to the Havley one. It is made from thin, clear PVC material, making it less noticeable on the wearer. Users can also wear these retainers without impacting their speech or obscuring their smiles. Today, dental patients have a variety of options to suit preferences. Now that's something to smile about. If your teeth has been shifted from not wearing a retainer for long, talk to your dental care provider who will help you evaluating your options. Retainers are worn full-time for the first hour to 6 months and then at bedtime for life. So keep it in its case at room temperature and properly store your retainer. So this is a day to show your teeth some extra love. Make a trip to the dentist for a checkup on those pearly whites. Regardless of dental treatments, human teeth tend to shift with age. Teeth aren't firmly set in the jawbones, they're held in place by periodontal ligaments. There are main types of retainers, fixed and removable. Before anesthesia was invented, patients had to endure the raw pain of dental treatment. Teeth are only part of the human body that can't repair itself. So we have to take care of the teeth. So it's also a day to smile. A smile a day keeps worries at bay. So on this International Retainer Day, we get to spread good cheer and with those we come across. Tooth care has come a long way since ancient times. This day encourages us to explore these advancements and to be grateful for modern dentistry. Today is also commemorated as Liberation Day or FSL and Revolution Day in Nicaragua. It is one of the significant holiday and signifies the birth of Nicaragua as an independent nation. The riot against the Somoza family's military, which ruled as a family dictatorship over 3 decades, began in the early 1960s. In 1961, opposition groups formed the Sandinista National Liberation Front, and they launched a campaign of the armed resistance against the Somoza regime in the 1970s. The struggle between the Sandinistas and Somoza lasted for 10 years. President Anastasio Somoza finally resigned in 1979. The Contra War ended in 1990. Today is also commemorated as National Football Day in United States. Honors the most popular sport while also remembering us we are in the middle of the season and should check in our fantasy teams. Football is an excellent way to stay in shape and improve your reflexes. Kick a ball around in the yard and your friends or start a game. Now it's the time to get the ball if you don't already have one. Football is a popular sport in North America. The sport is recognized as football in the United States and Canada. but it is also known as gridiron or American football in other parts of the world. In the late 1800s, rugby and soccer both paved the way for American football. Walter Camp, a Yale graduate, was created for establishing the line of scrimmage, down and distance and regulations such as first and 10, and the authorization of blocking. Coaches like Knute Rockne and Amos Alonso Stagg later used the new ahead pass play. Prior to it, in 1820, Princeton students were playing a game known as ballon, which means batting of the bladder with fist. The game involved batting the ball with a fist to keep it in motion. There was no clear and fast regulations, and it was regarded as the simplest version of football. However, the game fell into obscurity during the Civil War. A football style game was held at the Harvard on the first Monday of the academic year. This game was so physically demanding that the day it was played was dubbed as Bloody Monday. This year, the year 1865 was pivotal in the development of American football. After the Civil War, football gained popularity in many universities. The game's essential rules were developed, and the game received its first patent. On November 6, 1869, Rutgers and Princeton played the first intercollegiate football game, with Rutgers winning by a score of 6 goals to 4. American football have developed from a simple game of tossing or kicking a ball past opponents to a game that has influenced American culture and also economics. So football is just rugby until 1882, when new rules enable each team 3 tries to advance the ball 5 yards in 1882. So deaf quarterback Paul Hubbard invents the huddle because he is concerned that the opposing team would misread his hand signals. So he arranges his teammates in a circle pattern to call plays. So the first huddle use was in 1890. So William Pudge Heffelfinger is the first professional football player, earning $500 each game. So he was the first football player earning professionally in 1892. So only about 500 people see the first broadcast of a professional football game, which was telecasted on television in 1939. So football's popularity contributes to the sports status as a symbol battleground in the culture wars in the United States. Football, according to its supporters, is the ideal arena for young men to test and develop their masculinity while promoting virtues like collaboration and self-reliance. Every Sunday, millions of people escape from their routines or difficulties thanks to the power of mass communication, such as television and radio. As fans from all over the world and country continue to form a growing community of supporters, and NFL has become a religion in its own right for many. So Walter Camp is regarded as the founding father of American football. Camp was a superb rugby player from Yale University who changed the rules of rugby in 1880s to allow for more modern style of play, which eventually evolved into football. So nothing brings a business together like a friendly wager, and what better way to get everyone engaged than to make it competitive. You can also find a friend or a family member to join you in a football competition. The more the merrier. The best way is to watch a football match, or especially one in league, or support your favorite team to win trophy, or get your friends to cheer them on as well. Or if you are a player, start a game or play a game today commemorating National Football Day. Several local leagues are seeking capable, strong-bodied players to join their ranks. In fact, there are probably several leagues that require average, soft-bodied athletes to fill out their rosters. This is your chance to shine and find some local clubs, football clubs or leagues. So the new regulations also reduced game duration by 10 minutes, uh, though the game was originally 70 minutes long. The longest field goal in the professional football history was 64 yards. A football has the shape of a prolate spheroid, which translates to long spear. The markings on a collegiate football differ slightly from those on a professional football, similar to how sticky football gloves make gaming easier. So both college balls and professional balls are at the same. A football game is divided into 4 quarters, each lasting 15 minutes. However, they only play for about 11 minutes of the time. So the Super Bowl is one of the America's most important days for bringing family and friends together. Even those who have never seen a single regular season game will go over to a friend's or neighbor's house to watch the Super Bowl. Football is a team sport that relies on cooperation. Each move is designated to achieve a specific goal, and if one player falls asleep at a wheel, the entire scheme can fall apart. Non-sports fans prefer to portray the game as simple-minded and brutal, but they have no idea how much thought goes into assembling a winning team. You can have as many elite players on your team as you want, but if you don't have the brains to back up them, you will be eating dirt. Today is also commemorated as National Hot Dog Day in US. A summer day at the amusement park or a baseball stadium pairs nicely with a hot dog or tofu dog. For those of you who prefer a meatless version. See, generally hot dogs are non-vegetarian dogs, but there are also vegetarian dogs. Dog doesn't mean you are eating dog. Even they are called dogs for a reason. I will let you know. So these hot dogs don't have to be made with meat and anymore can enjoy the old American favorite food any time of the year. So those who are vegetarians or those who don't want to harm animals or eat animals, for them, it is made with tofu. We have seen earlier what tofu is, and we have also commemorated Tofu Day. So hot dogs can be purchased and enjoyed at any time of the year. However, this July 19th is the day we hold them in the highest regard. So the term hot dog, including knowing the term itself, was derived in the 19th century at the time when German immigrants brought their own culinary traditions with them to the New World. It is believed that they brought to New York America's first hot dogs, originally referred to as a dashent sausage. So for their long shape that resembled like below dashent pups. So it was hot dog was looking similar to dashent pups, these dog puppies. So that's why these this food item got the name hot dog because it is served hot. Around 1870, Charles Feldman, a German immigrant, began to sell hot dogs out of a stand on Coley Island. He sold over 3,600 frankfurters in a burn and that year alone. So while we cannot be completely sure how or even when this was created, but in the late 19th century, when casual food lover and baseball team owner of the St. Louis Browns, better known to be some as the Baltimore Orioles, Chris Von D. Ehib brought this together at his own amusement park. So celebrating this day is fairly straightforward. Just make your hot dog or tofu dog your way and enjoy it. However, honestly, the dog days of summer, who doesn't like a tofu dog or hot dog with all favorite fixings? So some take hot dogs beyond food form. They are also Wiener dog races and other relative inclusive festivals to consider. Today is also commemorated as National Urban Beekeeping Day. We have seen what is the importance of bee many times in many commemorations. So the day is set aside to celebrate the practice of bee colonies in urban areas. So this is also one more commemoration related to bees, and other names for urban beekeeping are hobby keeping and backyard keeping. Apiculture refers to the practice of keeping and maintaining bees. At a time, it was prohibited to keep bees in the urban areas, but recent discovery shows that the bees kept in the city are healthier than those kept in the country, and that bees have economic and environmental growth. On December 3rd, 2019, Detroit Hives, a non-profit organization, declared July 19th of every year as National Urban Beekeeping Day. The holiday was created to raise awareness about the supporting urban beekeepers, inform the public on the role of urban beekeeping, and also to discuss the importance of bees in our environment. On July 21st of the same year, Jewel Jones introduced the HR Bill 141, a bill to declare July 19th as National Urban Keeping Day in the state of Michigan. This bill was granted and supported by 10 state representatives. One of the challenges of urban keeping was swarming. While it is harmless, the sight of the swarming colony of bees in an urban area is enough to scare people away and disturb their day-to-day activities. People know that bee stings can be excruciating and are ever wary of stung by bees. Another challenge was that the increasing popularity of urban beekeeping led to lower honeybee yields as reported in some cities like New York. Then there was challenge of easy transmission of some disease agents that affect honeybees in urban areas. So these challenges led to numerous bee bans, especially in North American cities. But in recent times, these bans have been overturned. One of the major reasons for this was the health of the bees. Bees in urban colonies were found to be healthier and more productive than country bees. These inclusion of bees in the local food movement also helped in overturning bans from 1999 to 2012. There was an enormous increase in urban beekeepers. Although it is now mandatory to register beehives, a large number of beekeepers do not inform their city management. So the father of modern beekeeping, Anton Jansa, is born in 1734. The couple, Timothy Paule and Nicole Lindsay, create Detroit Hives in 2017. So Detroit Hives declares July 19th as National Urban Beekeeping Day in 2019. And a state representative, Jewel Jones, introduces a bill to declare July 19th as National Urban Beekeeping Day in 2019. Some of the problems of urban keeping are the location of hive, access to flowers, and regulations. India is the country with the largest number of beehives, about 12.2 million in total, which are identified. There might be many, even many more. So there are lots of bee farms in all over the country. Pay one of them a visit and learn more about bees. Bee farmers have a lot of work to do in trying to keep their bee farms running. Show them support by offering financial aid. So let everyone know what today is. So bees promote pollination, as we have seen earlier also. So we celebrate this day to promote actions that will protect and enhance pollinators. It is also important to make sure these pollinators have the right habitat. And we also celebrate this day to promote bee abundance in urban areas as it has various environmental and health benefits. This promotes bee diversity. It is impossible to have the various benefits of locally made honey without bees. This means that it is doubtedly important to promote the development of beekeeping. So today is also commemorated as National Words with Friends Day, that commemorates the game Words with Friends. Players have to use their knowledge and creativity to form words to win points. Similar to the classic board game Scrabble, the objective is to build words in a crossword puzzle form. The president of publishing at Zynga mentioned that the Words with Friends is more than just a game and surpasses our culture and language. Last year, he said about the game and the holiday it inspired over the past 12 years is grown from a popular app to a global sensation. And we are excited to celebrate this first annual National Day and Festival with our fans in the game we all love. So the National Words with Friends Day is celebrated on July 19, 2022. Zynga, a video game developer, announced National Word with Friends Day in 2021 in connection with the Real Word with Friends game that came about in the year 2009. Zynga, founded in 2007 with its headquarters in San Francisco, is an international leader in the entertainment industry. The interactive game, National Words with Friends, have been enjoyed by many players worldwide. Today, around more than 1 billion people have participated in and played Zynga, other franchise games such as CSR Racing, Zynga Poker, Merge Magic, and many more. These games are accessible in more than 150 countries and can be found on social media platforms and mobile devices. Today is also commemorated as Stick Out Your Tongue Day in US. So we all stuck our tongues out of people in a playful banter. So while many cultures find it rude and childish, but the gesture of sticking out your tongue is seen as a polite greetings in Tibet. So you can even stick your tongue out without judgment at the doctor's office as they check your throat for potential infections. The tongue is an important organ of the body and is actually a group of muscles that work without the support of the skeleton. The tongue is primarily responsible for the taste and serves a means to detect potential infections or illness. It also helps to naturally clean the teeth, enable speech in humans, and for vocalization in other animals. This rather important organ has an unusual holiday dedicated to it in the form of Stick Your Tongue Out Day. So it is celebrated mainly in the United States. The reason behind celebrating this peculiar holiday remains a mystery. There are different theories behind the significance of this day. While some say it encourages one to go to doctor, others see it as an opportunity to playfully stick your tongue out of an unsuspecting individual. Several people believe it is an extremely rude to stick your tongue out at someone, and it's a mark of disrespect. However, children stick their tongue out as a sign of silliness. Many times, sticking your tongue out can be an automatic reaction when engaging in tasks that require maximum concentration. There might be several reasons for this day. Nevertheless, ever since it came about, it has been enjoyed by many as it provides some element of fun in our otherwise serious lives. So Kunal Jain of Canada creates a world record by generating a sound level reading of 104.2 dBA by clicking his tongue, the loudest tongue click in 2003. Thomas Bactom creates the record of the greatest weight lifted hook through his tongue in Mexico City in 2008. A farmer in Italy is convinced and fined by the country's highest court for sticking his tongue out at a neighbor during an argument. So sometimes you can land in jail by sticking tongue out. See this case in 2009, and he was arrested. So Cassie Severn breaks the record for the most mouse traps released on the tongue in 1 minute at the Maryland Resonance Festival in Crownsville, Maryland in 2014. So the gesture of sticking out one's tongue is said to have multiple meanings, from being interpreted as an act of rudeness or disgust or being seen as playfulness. The Maori people of New Zealand stuck their tongue out as part of war chant preceding a battle. They would tattoo their faces, scream, dance, and stick their tongues out as a sign of intimidation to the enemy. So the brain devotes a significant amount of attention to the tongue as it is a huge muscle that has multiple functions. It has to keep out the way of your teeth, helps you swallow, and avoids choking you. When you stick your tongue out or bite it, tongue movement is reduced, which leaves more brain power available to concentrate. So I've been itching to just tuck your tongue out as you did in the childhood. Well, this one day you can do it and join in the fun. And one preferably acceptable place to stick out your tongue is doctor's office. So if you have been putting off an important checkup, this day is your cue. Visit doctor for checkup so that you can take preventive measures to avoid getting sick. And sticking out your tongue is not easy because it goes against Western social norms. So while your tongue may not be the strongest muscle, it is the most flexible and comes in many shapes and sizes. On average, adults have around 2,000 to 4,000 taste buds that are located on the tongue. The tongue can act as a health indicator, giving insight into health issues like urinary infections, constipation, insomnia, and many more. That's why whenever you visit your doctor will ask you to show your tongue so that he can inspect the tongue and also your throat. Just like fingerprints, the tongue print is also unique to each person. The Guinness World Record for the longest tongue is 3.97 inches. Today is also commemorated as Take Your Poet to Work in the US. Poetry lovers all over the world carry their favorite wordsmith to work, not literally, though that would be awesome. People take paper cutouts of poets around with them in their pockets and place them on their desks or put them in their drawers. This gives them extra motivation to get through the day. This day has been sponsored by Tweet Speak Poetry since 2013 and even released a poet coloring book in 2020 to enable people to take part in the celebration season. So Take Your Poet to Work Day has evolved into one of the most popular public holidays for poetry. It has been introduced to poets who are new to them while providing a chance to fold a poet into their day. So this gives you people a chance to carry their favorite poets around with them for the day. And the creators of this holiday designated it to encourage the poetry shy to dip their toes into this art form. Since the inception of the day, it has been celebrated widely on social media and offline as well. Microsoft Lumina, the Scottish Parliament Subway, NASA, PlayStation, Subway, Cisco, and the Smithsonian are some of the locations that have hosted these celebrations. Poetry began as an oral art form before written text. Historians believe that the earliest poetry was likely recited or sung. Poems are employed to keep records of oral history, genealogy, and law. The earliest written poems date to over 5,000 years ago in Mesopotamia, recorded in cuneiform. They were done on clay tablets and gave detailed accounts of how the ancient kings ruled their people. Poetry is closely linked to musical traditions, and the earliest poetry exists in the form of hymns and chants. Poems were a vital part of religious ceremonies or rites of passage, such as weddings or funerals. Many people still use spoken word art form in the events such as weddings, funerals, and presidential inaugurations, which typically include professional performances. Poetry has been used as a deep to convey deep messages, and in past it was considered by many to be the highest form of literature. This is because of its use of all 8 parts of the speech to communicate ideas effectively. So the Mahabharata is an Indian epic poem that has around 1.8 million poems, which is the longest poem in the world. So Annie Bradstreet was the first woman recognized as an accomplished poet in the British American colonies in the West. Poems were once used as a means of non-verbal communication. So if someone had been taken by the enemy, he left poems on walls or trees. Modern poets often use other media such as drawings to represent their work. The poets from Romantic era were considered to be more accessible than their precedents because they wrote about everyday life instead of lofty themes that were not related to ordinary people. The fear of poetry is known as emetophobia. The skin of murderer George Cudmore was used to bind an 1852 edition of John Milton's poetical works. So this day spreads the love of poetry, and it's also fun and also a chance to support artists. So we will take up some monthly commemorations as well. As we have seen, Hot Dog Day, this month is also commemorated as Hot Dog Month. And we have also commemorated Ice Cream Day, day before yesterday and day before that yesterday, Peach Ice Cream Day. All these, this month is also commemorated as National Ice Cream Month. And this month is also commemorated as National Contract Saving Month in US. So depending on the season, you are probably sitting on your couch or in bed, wearing soft and cozy loungewear or taking a break from a brisk walk in your sports clothes. This month is all about manufacturers of the soft goods that made the pair of cozy PJs you are wearing or the shorts you just ran a couple of miles in. It's all around us, and the people who are responsible for these articles of clothing, the throws we cover ourselves with, or the bedding we just folded after washing, are the heroes of the special month in which we celebrate their craft and years of expertise. Every year, soft good manufacturers are encouraged to observe National Contract Saving Month, which takes place in July and honors millions of Americans who work in the industry creating textile products such as clothing, fabrics, bedding, and in some cases, furniture. Yes. So historically, all sieving was done by hand for thousands of years. However, the invention of sieving machine in the 19th century and the rise of computerization in the 20th century resulted in the mass production and export of sieving objects. There are still some countries where hand sieving is practiced and even considered a dying form of art. But let's back to the special event in July. It's all started in 2019 when Custom Fab USA, a contract sieving company in Garden Grove, California, founded and celebrated National Contract Sieving Month. There are a member of Industrial Fabrics Association, International Makers Division, and had the vision to make National Contract Sieving Month a nationally recognized holiday in the United States. It was established to raise awareness for the workforce involved in the contract sieving industry in the US, which includes designers, sourcing managers, cut sieve specialists, sievers, machine operators, quality assurance specialists, and other divisions and specialties. So Custom Fab USA was interested in and driven by American-made products and how those can stimulate the economy, promote a healthy supply chain, and to protect the country during lower economic periods so that they ensure that all contract sieving corporations and their workers are honored nationwide. So the weaving of cloth from natural fibers is believed to have originated in the Middle East, and sieving is invented in its purest form. So Thomas Saint invents the world's first sieving machine as a way to streamline the process of business of sieving in 1790. And for the industry, the Industrial Fabrics Association International established to serve the specialty fabrics industry. The Industrial Fabrics Association International establishes its makers division representing companies that employ machine operators in the fabric industry in 1920s. Honoring the needle women and men, Custom Fab USA creates National Contract Sieving Month in Garden Grove, California. So learning to sieve is no more difficult than baking a cake or building or a bookshelf. If it is learned one step at a time, with lots of practice, as with any new skill, of course, getting good at anything requires effort. You might have a high-priced mixer on your kitchen counter. So making something on your own saves your own on labor and allows you to create something you are sure to love. However, the chances are that it will not save you money in the long run. Clothing prices are much lower while fabric prices are rising. The majority of industry designers outsource sample sieving. Almost all clothes lines delegate production to professional sievers and clothing factories. Having said that, many fashion designers do not sieve at all. So while National Contract Sieving Month honors these in the industry that work for big corporations and textile companies, going back to basics and honoring the art and creating clothes in a lovely way to celebrate sieving and its long history. Visit your local tailor and place an order for the suit jacket. Most tailors train on suits and should be able to craft a beautiful piece of clothing to commemorate this special month. A National Culinary Arts Month is also celebrated in this month. This is because it is not an easy job to create delicious new dishes. Neither it is an easy task to present these dishes in creative ways. And one mistake, and you will have to start all over again. There are thousands of chefs in America that has been started to cater to different plates. And this National Culinary Arts Month join culinary schools, restaurants, and kitchens as they honor some of the most talented chefs in the country. So before we delve into the history of culinary arts, let's take a look at what it really is. Culinary arts is basically the art of preparing and presenting food, dressed as a dish that can look at times more appetizing if it is presented nicely. This is why the study and profession of culinary arts have managed to gain much respect across the globe. And yes, this is why certain chefs are paid exorbitant salaries. While the practice of cooking food has existed since Stone Age, the techniques of cooking evolved with the introduction of earthenware, the availability of different vegetables and herbs, and the domestication of livestock, which has fostered. And this is the time when people started experimenting with recipes and different styles of cooking. During the 4th century BC, the Greek Archestratus wrote the first cookbook pen around the world. Different societies adopted different styles and theories of cooking. For instance, the Chinese highlight the first 5 basic taste sensations: sweet, sour, briny, spicy, and bitter. By the 3rd century BC, a typical Greek had numerous cooking utensils that were used to fry and boil different meats and vegetables. By the 18th century, cooking methods had evolved across the world, and numerous cooks began sharing their recipes. Their first recognized cookbook, titled the Fanny Farmer Cookbook, was published in 1896. Written by Fanny Farmer, the historic book is still available in the print today. The obsession with different recipes went a little further in 1946 when NBC aired the first nationally televised cooking show with James Burke. Since radio was popular during at the time, numerous cooking shows were also aired on radio channels. This month is also commemorated as National Family Reunion Month. It is described as a relationship with a person or people related to you by blood or by law. This can include your grandparents, parents, siblings, cousins, uncles, and aunts. It can also include husband, wife, and the relationships created under the court of law. Family reunions mean people coming together to spend time and share experiences. It could be meeting for food or barbecue sessions. The reunion can also include board games, bonfires, and sleepovers. In today's day and age, a family reunion acts as a good regeneration exercise, as many are caught up in hectic lifestyles where, in many cases, they rarely get to spend time with family. In older days, family reunions were not as common as they are today. Traveling was harder, as not many options were available. Moreover, it would take much longer to reach your destination. At the same time, families tended to live nearer to each other. either in the same neighborhood or in the same city. When we talk about family reunions, we were also reminded of the great migration of African Americans during 1915 and 1970. This also meant families being separated and new families being made. A study showed that African Americans attended more family gatherings than any other ethnic group. These large family reunions consist of extended family members and friends, neighbor churchgoers. Just like any other family reunion, the African American family reunions also have a host of activities that people participate in to have fun and bond together. Activities can include storytelling, graduation, celebrations, food preparation, and sports. This month is also commemorated as National Grilling Month. So grilling is actually food is being cooked using dry heat, goes ways back in history, because it also goes back as long as the caveman era, the Stone Age, where there were no, these stoves and all those things, burners. At that time, they were simply, food was burnt or, fried and consumed. Ever since then, people have been grilling all kinds of things, not just meat, even we fry vegetables and other things. So backyard grilling became popular only recently. Until 1940s, people would only grill when they were in great orders or at the picnics in a park. Backyard grilling only became popular after World War II, when many people's socio-economic conditions improved and the middle class rose. People started grilling in their backyards. The mention of grilling also begins as the topic of barbecue. Much like grilling, barbecue's origin remain obscure, yet many historians think that this later may have originated from Spain or the Caribbean. This month is also commemorated as National Horseradish Month. And it's time we start talking about important stuff like horseradish. Not to get political, but this horseradish is insanely good. If you haven't had horseradish already, you are in for a real treat. It is a heavily underrooted root vegetable that looks similar to ginger and whose taste can be best described as hot, spicy, peppery, and a little pungent. And this has a long history across cultures for its many purposes. It is a root vegetable cultivated and used around the world as a spice and as a condiment. These species like native to southern Eastern Europe and Western Asia and have been grown since ancient times. So this 3,000-year-old plant has been used for everything, as an aphrodisiac, a treatment of rheumatism, a bitter help for Passover cedars, and a flavorful companion. Even the Egyptians know about horseradish, but its roots and leaves were used in the form of traditional medicine. During the Middle Ages, the root was used as a condiment with meats in places like Germany, Scandinavia, and Britain. In such a versatile food that Native Americans used to stimulate plants, counter scurvy, and as a diaphoric treatment for the common cold. Some cultures even believe that horseradish is a cure to everything. So as already mentioned, this month is also National Hot Dog Month. And this month is also commemorated as National Lost Pet Prevention Month to help raise awareness of the issue and minimize number of missing pets. A campaign to provide pet owners with the information they need to keep their pets from becoming statistics. Fireworks during celebrations by pet owners can be little upsetting for the four-legged members of the family. Many dogs and cats and other cattle startled and frightened by the sounds of fireworks or the activity of backyard parties flee and get lost. They run away without, to escape from these. And often many pets goes missing, especially while firework celebrations. This is quite common, especially, in Christmas season and New Year celebrations, where a lot of firework celebration happens across the world, and lots of animals are put to a lot of cruelty, abuse, and many pets also run away from homes and run away from harms, trying to escape from these fireworks and the sound, huge sound they make. Aside from these events, many families enjoy vacations over the summer. Pets who join their owners on vacation are also in danger of being disoriented in a new environment. Those that are left behind may flee due to loneliness or distress. Unfortunately, less than 3% of the lost pets who wind up in shelters find their home, and only 17% of the dogs find their home. See, when we see the statistics, it's very unfortunate that most of the pets goes missing after it has been, run away from home. So Pet Hub launched Lost Pet Prevention Month in 2014 to spark a more in-depth discussion on the numerous elements of keeping pets safe at home with their family. According to the American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, around 6.5 million companion animals enter animal shelters each year. There are around 3.3 million dogs and 3.2 million cats among the 6.5 million. Unfortunately, there are several techniques as a pet parent may employ to keep their pet becoming lost and ending up in a shelter. There are some basic precautions you can take to keep your pet safe and use positive reinforcement. Positive reinforcement or rewards work effectively with dogs and cats. Instead of scolding and disciplining your pet after each escape attempt, praise him or her for listening, arriving when called, and ceasing the activity. If you do let your dogs out, make sure they are in a securely fenced-in yard or on leash. When taking your dog for a walk, keep it leashed at all the times, even if it is good at listening to voice commands. Even well-trained dogs may forget their training and bolt if they hear loud, unexpected noises. So be sure to keep these pet loss prevention guidelines in mind, and it can be a joyful, safe experience for the entire family. This month is also commemorated as National Make a Difference to Child Month, as it raises awareness about the vulnerability any child in this world can face if they do not have the right person in their lives to guide them. Children, being pure of heart and still lacking experience about life, need guidance to choose the right paths. Oftentimes, such as guiding figures can be parents, older siblings, teachers, or any other types of guardians. However, it happens that many times children do not have such mentors, and this can put them in harm's way. A study shows that the children are more likely to pursue higher studies if they have mentors and ideals in their lives. Children are the future of the world, and this is why it is important to make a positive difference in their lives. The grassroots movement behind the National Make a Difference to Child Month was started in 2006 by Kim Ratz. Being a child advocate, Ratz wanted people to recognize making a difference in children's lives can lead to a better society in the long run. His focus was directed towards parents, teachers, care providers, and the general public who cared about children. Rat's targets range from children in orphanages and shelter homes to homeless children and children in abusive households. While it was a noble cause, many believe it was not useful because of the huge amount of children who needed help. Rats insisted that the amount of children needing help is not the issue. The issue is how many people are willing to come forward and help at least one child. So rats emphasizes making an effort to change the lives of the children. These children can be your these children can be your own kids, your neighbors' kids, or the kids who are friends with your children. You can start trying to understand the problems. Flogging the children, it could be as simple as help needed, something complex like mental, physical issues, or financial strains, whatever the case may be. So taking the first initiative is a positive start. So don't feel daunted by the impossibility of aiding a child. This month is also commemorated as National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month. It hopes to bring attention of the multitude of mental health experiences with biopic communities. The month also takes into the consideration the unfair inequalities such as systematic and historical barriers that negatively impact a person's mental health. The concerns and traumas faced by the marginalized, oppressed, and disenfranchised people are unique and need to be addressed as such. It is important to have professional and empathetic mental health caregivers to help overcome mental health issues and faulty diagnosis. The importance of this month was quickly realized and people started to join the cause wholeheartedly. The two of them held book signings, spoke in churches, and created a national minority mental health task force of healthcare workers, patients, friends, and allies. However, the efforts came to a standstill when Campbell was diagnosed with cancer. She passed away soon after, but Wharton Boyd and other advocates for National Minority Mental Health Awareness Month reignited their cause. It was decided that Campbell's efforts would not go in vain. The group researched and obtained the support of representatives Albert Venn and Diane Watson, who signed the legislation to create an official National Minority Mental Health Awareness in 2006. This month is also commemorated as National Pet Hydration Awareness Month to help raise awareness about the importance of pet hydration. While humans have restored to hourly reminders to keep up with their hydration needs throughout the day, our pets rely on to keep a full bowl and a hydrated body. The blazing sun of July requires us to amp up the hydration of ourselves and our pets. Pet hydration can quickly take a turn for worse, yet aren't a lot of commercials, wellness gurus, or social media starts reminding about this. There's no better way to fight back the blazing hot sun of July than by keeping your pets hydrated. Pet hydration is a highly overlooked yet critical area that concerns your pet's general health and well-being. Just as human bodies are 60% water, more than 70% water, pets' bodies are 80% water, and abruption in consistent replenishment can seriously limit their mobility and strength. A severe case of chronic dehydration can turn fatal as well. So this month also propagates the importance of hydration and lets pet parents know that the early warning signs of dehydration, which include loss of appetite, lethargy, loss of skin elasticity, etc. This month also raises critical awareness about the dangers of water intoxication, which occurs due to constant exposure to water bodies such as pools or garden houses. Excessive salivation, seizures, vomiting, and bloating are some of the early signs of water intoxication. So this month was introduced by PetSafe to raise awareness about the water intake of domestic animals as they brave the hottest month across US. Each time you reach for a glass, think of your pets. The annual observation also asks us to limit their exposure to extreme temperatures, as in US, this is the summer. It is important to keep freshly filtered water in vicinity of your pets at all times, since we are responsible for the hydration of our four-legged friends. It is recommended to set daily alarms, check up on the bowls, and keep in the mind the symptoms of dehydration. So we also recently commemorated Picnic Day. So this month is also commemorated as National Picnic Month. And we also commemorated this Watermelon Day. And this entire month is also commemorated as Watermelon Month. So this month is also commemorated as, this would be the last commemoration, Social Sarcoma Awareness Month. As sarcoma is a type of cancer that occurs in various locations of the body and is a general term used to refer to a broad group of cancers that begin with soft tissues and bones. Soft tissue sarcoma forms in the tissues that connect, support, and surround other body structures, including muscle, fat, blood vessels, nerves, tendons, and the lining of your joints. This is not only one type of sarcoma, but actually more than 70 types of sarcoma. Treatment varies, depends on the type of sarcoma, location, and other factors. So this month strives to raise awareness about what is considered to be forgotten cancer. The truth is that little is known about sarcomas, and efforts to encourage research and drug development and are made more challenging due to lack of awareness and understanding. Unfortunately, it is not fully understood why some people develop sarcomas while the majority do not. However, researchers have been able to single out some indicators that may play a key role in causing sarcomas by identifying common characteristics in groups with usually high occurrence rates. Although the causes of sarcomas are unknown, some known risk factors be taken into account. One of the risk factors is exposure to phenoxyacetic acid in herbicides or chlorophenols in wood preservatives. An unusual percentage of patients with a rare blood vessel tumor have been exposed to vinyl chloride in their work. This substance is used in the manufacture of certain plastics. Another cause of sarcoma is high doses of radiation. Scientists have focused on genetic alterations that may lead to development of sarcomas. They have also found that there are a small number of families where more than one member in the same generation has developed a sarcoma. These cases of sarcomas within the same family may be related to a rare inherited genetic alteration. However, sarcomas are a completely random event in the family cancer history in the vast majority of cases. So with this, we shall end the commemorations for the day. And thank you everyone for joining us. We request everyone to quickly fill up the feedback form. And if you have not registered, we have shared the registration form in the chat box. We request everyone to, after filling up the feedback form, it will be there for 5 minutes. If not registered, you can register. It is the same link every day. So see you all tomorrow at the same time. Take care. Good night.